The outcome of the outcome is what becomes possible for somebody once they become your client. When you're describing that sort of relationship between a seller and a potential buyer, they start to engage in real meaningful conversation. What do you suppose is happening there?
I would say a relationship is formed, right? Or is forming. And it's a base of potential trust is established.
Yeah, okay. So if you were selling me something, let's say we have our very first conversation and you've got something that I'm really interested in. I think it might be able to help me, but I'm not sure about it. What do you think the most powerful thing you can give me is in our first conversation?
That's a very, very interesting question. And I would say, well, there's two things potentially. And I'm looking just at also the clients that I work with in our industry. Let's say you would be one of those clients. It would be the power of no. Like, I don't think you are what you want to build or what you want to buy. We might not be the right people. Just I think the transparency and the honesty, but also an intricate understanding of what the client actually, why they actually need it. Instead of, oh, you want to buy this product, I will sell you this product. I think it's the understanding of why they need the product is far more important than selling the product in and on itself.
Is there anything that you'd add to that, Charlie?
Well, I think exactly what you said. You need to give them an experience. So two things. One is, I believe as a salesperson, if you believe in the product, your natural mannerisms, the way you come across, your body language, the tonality of your voice, if you know that what you're selling is actually going to save them money or make them more, give them better health, or what are the three reasons people use technology, right? More money, better health, or more relationships, or something to that effect. If you know that what you're selling is going to deliver one of those three things that they want, you're naturally going to be, I think, a little more nonchalant, because if it's not you, it's the next person. So I just need to get onto the call with the next person. So there's something in that confidence that people naturally feel. I think also there's, you then aren't sort of desperate for the sell. You're not leaning into the call too much. You're sitting back going, well, do you want it or not? I think that's natural. I think people can sense that on people when they're having a conversation. And then it's, as long as the message is clear, like, do I understand that this is something I need? You don't want to work with someone who doesn't need your product and is going to end up an unhappy customer. You want to work with someone who actually wants what you have, are going to be an ideal client, potentially a case study, and are going to be delighted at the fact that they've worked with you. Because working with an unhappy client costs more money than it's worth normally.
Okay, I'm going to give you 2.5 out of 3 for the answer. Okay, is that okay? Yeah. Because all of that was good stuff. And the remaining 0.5 was touched upon but not expanded upon. But I think when you hear it, you'll recognize it right away, because we sometimes take it for granted. So Thomas, you talked about the style and the emotional involvement of the engagement, the transparency, being honest and candid, and being willing to say, no, if I'm not right, I will go. Putting the enthusiasm in. And Charlie, you were talking about making sure the fit was right and all the rest of it. The other 0.5, which is maybe a little bit bigger than just 0.5, is I'd be looking for you to help me create an experience for myself of what it's going to be like to be your customer.
Yep.
Okay. Now, Charlie and I have talked about this in the past, and this is where we get into this realm of this thing called the outcome of the outcome. And if the people watching this and listening to this get nothing out of this, please take this away. If you get your head around this, everything will change. The outcome of the outcome is what becomes possible for somebody once they become your client. What things become available that aren't available now? What becomes joyous that's not joyous now? So if Thomas and I decided we were going to go skiing and we went to a travel agent and we saw all these fantastic pictures on the walls of this travel agent, this is a proper travel agent. It's a shop with people in it rather than browsing pictures online. Although the same thing applies, is we go in and we look at all of these things and we go, oh, look at there's Val d'Isère. Oh, look there, Le Deux Alpes. Oh, look at the skies. Look at all these lifts, and there's nobody there. 18 inches of fresh powder. We go in, and they say, so when, what do you want? Well, we want a skiing holiday. We want our lift passes included. We want ski hire and boots. We want insurance. We want all our meals included. We want drinks included. We want ski lessons. We want some après-ski. We want all this. And so they put this thing together for us. So we get all excited, and we get our credit cards down. We go, yeehaw. And then we spend 18 gazillion euros, and we go away, and we're really happy. And we get an email, and we open up the email, we print it off. And what we've just bought is a bunch of vouchers. We've bought a voucher to turn up at the airport and stand in a line of people to go through security, check in our bags, to jump in a great big tube full of other people going to the same place, a voucher to get on a bus, a voucher to go to a hotel, which is just a big box of rooms, a voucher for some stuff to shove in our face. That's not what we thought we've bought. We've bought an experience that hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
We've bought the outcome of the outcome. We bought blue skies. We bought fresh powder. We bought making new friendships, having a great laugh. And so the outcome of the outcome is what drives people to say yes. Okay? The outcome of the outcome with the $15,000 per P was not buying a piece of software to sniff out assets. It was, I want a good night's sleep.
Yep.
If I scratch this itch, I will sleep better. And so when you're having your conversation with your customers and they sense your enthusiasm and your integrity and your commitment to doing a good job, and then you add into that the part of the conversation that says, so Thomas, once all this is up and it's singing and it's absolutely in place and you're happy with it, what are you going to do next? What will become possible for you as a business that's not possible now? And then they'll tell you. And that is the reason that they're buying from you. Not because you have an interesting widget or a shiny gong. They don't care about those things. They care about the outcome of the outcome.
This is so powerful if you look at selling software, because people don't buy software. They buy a product that they can ship to their end users, make their end users happy, get sales, et cetera, et cetera. And it's what I always found interesting. And it's one of the reasons why Charlie and I work together within What the Three and our companies, is because we don't look at like, okay, we'll sell you a piece of software and you'll be happy with it. No, we look at like, what happens if we sell you this, right? Like, we're not selling you a piece of software and then you'll be a happy client. No, we're helping you build your company and de-risk your future for, if you're from 0 to 1, from 1 to 100, I would say. And and how we do that, we give you a team. We help you grow your product so that you don't need to worry about that product, but you can actually get that to your clients. So the outcome of what we do is not, we just had a successful sale. No, the outcome of what we do is our client now can go to market with, a really relaxed, say, mindset where he said, like, I work with professionals that handled the pieces that I don't know. And I know if I go to market, and I will go to market, they are able, like, I will be able to sell this product and my customers will be happy. And that's where I care about. And that's the outcome of the outcome, I think, in this example.
Yep. Can I give you 2.75 out of 3 for that one?
Please.
Because this is all really good, and you'll have to forgive me for being pedantic on this. I love this stuff deeply because it has rewarded me hugely over the years. And it's really simple once you remember to do it. So in the example that you just gave me there, which is the remaining 0.25 is the part of the dialogue with the client where you say, now that you've got this out there in the marketplace, what are you going to notice now?
Yeah.
And let's say we're going to reduce our sales engagement times, our lead times to order by 3 months. Oh, that's interesting. What's your average order value? $100,000. 3 months early. So we can say that's around about $30,000 in this calendar year that might have drifted into next calendar year. Yep. And how many times might you do that? Well, we would do that maybe 3 or 4 times. Well, there's $120,000 in this calendar year that wasn't going to be. Wow. What do you suppose you might do with that additional $120K? well, we'd probably invest in a new PM to allow us to deliver, or we'd invest in another salesperson. They're now telling you what they want for the future. They're going to the outcome of the outcome of the outcome.
Yeah.
Right? And they won't be having that conversation with anybody else. When they tell you that, if they say potentially there's $120,000 that we can bring into this fiscal in terms of real cash, which is a really important thing for a small business, they can't go back on that because they gave you that number. Right? So you might say, do you know what? With that additional $120,000, if you invested $60,000, we could probably turn that 120 into 250. So do you think it would be worth investing $60,000 that comes in this year now to get the 250 now? What do you think they might say?
Let's go.
And because it's their data and they've told you what the numbers are, you're not making this stuff up. You're just using their information and their data in a meaningful way that allows you to show them opportunities that exist for them in the form of an outcome of the outcome that they're not aware of yet. And what do you suppose that does to your reputation in their eyes?
Yeah, that goes up. Yeah, 100%, 200% easily. And that's where your recommendations come from as a business, right? As a small business that sells.
Oh, absolutely. Well, when you're having that type of conversation, and your competitors aren't part of that, they won't be part of that. What they'll be doing is they'll be looking for an invitation to tender to come out that they can respond to go in with a lowball price and hope that they get 1 in 5. You're writing the tender.
Yeah.
And you've become a trusted partner, and they're vendors. And of course, the difference between a vendor and a trusted partner is a vendor is an interchangeable commodity. If vendor A isn't available, they'll just buy from vendor B. Whereas if you're engaging at outcome of the outcome level as a trusted advisor, if you ask the client, hey, what would you do if Thomas wasn't around right now? They go, oh God, no. I don't even want to think about that. You're not a vendor anymore.
Yep. Yeah, you become a partner.
It's so exciting.
Yep.
It transforms relationships.